Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Shade
Shade
in the
in the
City.
City.
I am your
That
girl. I'm
I'm
just
so
saying.
shaded right now. We didn't even get started.
I'm just
You
saying.
didn't tell me you was wearing your hoodie.
So she couldn't copy me for once, y'all. Because had I told her, she would have it on.
You know what? I got you. I got you. It's okay. It's all right.
So thank you guys. We are jumping into our review of 90 Day Fiancé the
I was about
other
to say, you
way.
forgot for a second, didn't you?
I did. Season 4, episode 2. New Group of Fools. So that's not the title, guys. It's like To Be Loved or
It
Be
works though.
Wise or
Get
something
it.
like that. I don't get me lying. I just want to get into the new fool that we met this episode, and then we reconfirm how much of a fool Jen is. But before I tell y'all the whole episode, why don't we just get into it? And if you haven't already, Shade Squad, hit that like button.
And that subscribe button. Is that your edge brush?
Yes, it is. And let's get into it. It's a nice edge brush, though.
It
And
is.
let's get shady. Johan is upset with Danielle. We're picking up where we leave off, guys. And he driving all aggressively and stuff, or maybe the roads is just bumpy. I don't know what type
They are a little bit bumpy. Well, I don't know what part of DR they in. Do you remember?
I don't know. I don't think he lives in Santo Domingo.
But you know what? Wherever they was, it wasn't super like crowded like that, which shocked the hell out of me. So I'm thinking they in like, I don't know, the country somewhere.
Anyway, he's upset that, Danielle's not interested in moving back to New York. Danielle is not interested in arguing in front of his family. We learn he is one of 16 siblings
that live in that house. No, not siblings, family members that live in that house.
Oh, I thought he said 16 siblings.
No, it's 16 family members, I think including himself, that all live in that house.
What? They got a big house.
I'm just confused. Does he really have his own room, or did the people that stay in the room with him was like, you know what, since she here, we'll let you have it for the night?
I don't know. So Johan talks about how much his family loves Danielle, and that we see that they clearly do. But he also talks about how he had plans on moving there, and his dream, obviously was to move to the US, and so was his family's.
And he said that's every Dominican's dream.
Well, once they get back to his room, she tries to gaslight him some more by telling him how she wants to go to the beach every day. And that's why she wants to live in DR. Johan is not impressed and basically says he's not interested in staying in DR. And she tries to convince him that moving to America, he would have a miserable life.
She was like, you want your wife to be miserable?
He finally compromises, which I said, okay.
I love but you know what? I love the way he played this, because he's like, I'm gonna find out for herself.
Right. So he finally compromises, and he tells her that they'll stay for a while. And if they're doing okay, then he'll agree to stay. However, if they're not doing well, they have to go back to the US. Johan tells production and confessional that Danielle thinks it's all good because she's on vacation.
Basically.
But when she's living here, it's something else. And he's just he said, don't believe me, just watch.
Basically. Right. So the next morning, Danielle is walking Johan through her skincare routine. And
10 steps.
But she said she can't fully do them there because, she's trying her best, y'all. So I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed, and it shocked the hell out of me. Johan got Danielle's name tatted. So she knows
I didn't.
Yeah. So she knows it's real. And it shocked me because I didn't think it was real. But she's tatted on that man's chest.
Okay.
Now, she says a couple months after they got married, Johan opened up a butcher shop, and Danielle's super excited to see it because she's proud of him and she's willing to help in any way she can, as long as she ain't have to deal with no meat. Okay. Now, it looks like Danielle got a bit of culture shock already. Okay. When she walked into that butcher shop.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This totally shocked me too. I'm not, and I've never been. I've seen. I've watched enough years of 90 Day Fiance to know that this actually exists in like India and places that I don't know if I'm eating there though.
I'm wondering if it's like certain parts. I've been to grocery stores in other countries in DR.
Did you tell me they have the eggs on the shelf?
That was in Italy.
Right.
It was on the shelf, yeah. But I think also it's because they bring them in fresh every day. You know, here, them things that sit in the refrigerator
Right.
for God knows how long, probably until the expiration date on them. But they bring them in there fresh every day so they can sit them out. But so basically, you know, she says that she's floored, okay, because this meat is sitting out on the counter, and she's like, "Sir, this is supposed to be refrigerated. Why is there bugs? There's bugs flying everywhere," and she literally almost lost it. And he explains, "Look, this is how it's done in my country, okay? This is not your country, and everybody sells meat like this." Reality check number 1, okay? And he
said, you know what's so funny? Because when I get her concerns, but I was thinking that when she was doing it, and I was like, but I bet all his competitors are doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. But that's I'm really wondering if it depends on like the area that you live in also. Because some areas don't have AC, don't have hot water, but some areas do. You know what I'm saying? And I would think that those are the areas that possibly put their stuff in the fridge, or you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Look, don't give me the line. I don't know. But he says he's hurt by her expression of disgust. He thought, you know, she'd be proud of him, and it was the complete opposite. So he felt in some type of way.
It was the flies for me. You know how I feel about it. It was the flies.
Because you know they poop everywhere they land. So and she's like, "So this is the reason I was sick every time I came here and ate the meat. It's because of the bacteria. This is supposed to be cold." You know what this man did? Took her hand, placed it on the meat, and said, "See, look, it's cold."
He don't understand shit about cross-contamination, about like they didn't just go through the vid.
You know what I will say? Besides the fact it was sitting out on the counter, and besides the fact it had flies flying all over, it did look fresh, as in like it was cut that day, fresh, not like fresh, like you edible fresh, but like, you know, like they just got the meat that day. But you know, I ain't no butcher, so I don't know no better.
Oh yeah, bless your heart.
So
and he don't know nothing about.
Oh yeah, so she want to go. She wants some paperwork. She want to go through. She's like, ain't nobody coming up in here. She want to figure out, you know, if more money is going out than is coming in. So she goes to get her computer and decides, you know, I'm gonna put the numbers in and see what's what.
Because he claimed he don't know. He write everything down. He got receipts, but he don't really know.
She said, I feel like he is running his business like I would run a lemonade stand. You are a shady ass, and I know it's because he don't speak no damn English. Okay? Because he would have gotten that ass. She says, you know, she's been running her businesses since 2018. And she about to show him how to do a spreadsheet, how to, you know, figure all this out.
And he's like, what the hell are you coming over here with that for?
And she did. She basically showed him that more was going out the door than was coming in. Although the math wasn't mathing, because he had what 20. She said somehow he manifested 20,000 pesos that, you know, he couldn't have got from his job. And she like, where, how was you even able to pay for this, girl? Because he got another sugar mama. You just sugar mama number one. You his favorite.
That's what he gave me.
Somebody is paying that, okay? But you know, he basically
a sandy pandy, a sanky panky.
Thank you, Panky.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically she was like, you know what? Screw it. Great job. You did something I can't even do. I can't even work this type of magic. You manifested 20,000 pesos. And he basically says, well, congratulations on bringing my spirits down. Because when I thought she was going to be supportive, you wasn't. Well, you know what? She was like, you know what? I'm done.
You're right. They can't agree on anything. I thought they was so cute at first, and I was like, well, not at first, but I tried to give them a chance, but it went down out the window. We meet Nicole, 38, from Los Angeles. Okay. She apparently is I'm gonna call it like I see it, a Uber Eats or a DoorDash
She
driver.
works 2 jobs. She
Or maybe
delivers
she's a
food.
Grubhub.
She still she
No,
delivers.
no, no, no. You know what? You know what's popping out there in Cali? Postmates.
You know what, Tree? She works 2 jobs, okay? She delivers food and she resells these clothes. Let me tell you
And
something.
then she does her Poshmark.
I'm sure these tickets to Egypt ain't cheap. Okay? So she got to do something.
She's from a small town in Council, Idaho. I bet you had some real good potatoes in your lifetime.
You are beautiful.
She has a love for fashion and did go to fashion school, but hated it. So she said she was on a personal spiritual journey when she took a trip to Egypt. On the last day of her trip, she met her boo, Mahood. Am I getting that right?
Yes, Mahood.
In the fabric store. She spent her last 24 hours in Egypt with him and was reluctant to leave, but she did. Now, 5 days after she returned to America, he asked her to come back to Egypt and marry him. And they've been in love ever since. That's sarcasm for you guys. So she got on the plane seven days later. She do got a lot of money to be going back and forth. She got on a plane 7 days later and they got married.
Well, apparently Postmates doing something.
Right. She said it ended up being much different than she thought. And she left to come back to America. Now, this is what I didn't like is how they give us half the story. They ain't really go into it until they really
right. We don't find out till she meet up with her friends,
right.
Janine and Emmeline.
Emmeline. That's what I got too. Emmeline or Emmeline or whatever the hell.
Emmeline. I think it was Emmeline.
So she lets them know, hey girls, good to see you. It's nice to see you again. I'm moving back to Egypt.
They're like, what? To what?
Now, this is where we find out the ish of the ish because Emmeline is like, well, last time we talked to you, girl, you said you was leaving your husband.
We didn't even know you was in contact with that man. Apparently Nicole is super secretive. Because they didn't even know why she was leaving him in the first place. Or that she was even trying to go back to him.
I don't think she know what the hell she want to do. So we learned that this is Nicole's second time going back. She said she was struggling the first time with a bit of, the culture shock. But they agreed that while she's applying for the spousal visa for him to come to America, that she would go back and forth. Now, apparently they did this 6 times and the marriage started falling apart because they fought about everything. Apparently he don't like her clothes. She can't
want her around no men.
She just can't do nothing. She's very restricted. So 11 months after they got married, she stopped the process on this visa, said deuces, and she wanted a divorce.
And she blocked his ass.
And said, be blocked and blessed. Now, her girls are concerned that this decision kind of came out of nowhere. And they're like, why are you moving somewhere to be with someone who wants to change you? And even her friend jokes that, it sounds like he's stricter than Asians. And she feels like he loves her like she's never been loved before. And she thinks it'll be different now.
She don't. That's what's crazy. That's what's mind-boggling.
She thinks it'll be different now that she knows what to expect.
But she ain't willing to do it. She knows how he is.
They tell her, but don't give up your passport.
Well, after that, she calls him on FaceTime. Okay. She's like, they discuss their excitement because she's coming in 2 weeks. And, she's like, yeah, I'm excited, but I'm nervous. And he says that he's not nervous. She lets him know that she's nervous because last time she was out there, all they did was fight and argue. And he's like, yeah, because you like to start fights.
And he thought that was cute, and apparently she didn't.
Well, she was like, haha, you're so funny. He was like, no, I'm serious. She's like, oh, okay, so I'm the only one that start fights. He's like, no, but most of the time, yeah, that's what it is. And she says the fights are mainly about her clothes. And she lets him know that they're gonna keep on having this conversation until it's clear. I think what she's trying to do is just get some clarity before she goes out there so that if there's like an inkling that there's about to be a fight, she can be like, you know what? I'm not coming.
But I feel like it's kind of like you said, she already know what's up.
And he says this is why we discussed it before we got married. Okay. Now, apparently, his definition of discussing it was him pointing out some girls in the airport when she landed, saying what's acceptable and what's not. Okay. And he basically told her what she would be wearing, and what she
Watch by example.
Don't believe me, just watch. And he basically says that she said yes because she thought. I'm sorry. She basically said that she said yes because she thought there would be some wiggle room, and she didn't really take it that serious. And he was like, okay, well, that was your fault then. And she let him know that she loves him, and that's why she married him. But she does regret not finding out all the facts. And I feel like that's a lot of people before getting into these Muslim relationships. You know what though? I still kind of blame her because what we didn't mention is she was there for like a week before she even met him. She met him on the last day. So she saw how they were dressing there. It's different. Now, I get
So you know what irritated me about her?
What?
Oh, it's so much of a culture shock. I don't know the language. I already told y'all, this is no offense to Americans. This is not meant to be offensive to anyone. This is just my opinion. I'm tired of us Americans going over there. And then I feel like if you really love somebody and you really want to embrace them in their culture, you start off by learning their language, especially if there is a language barrier, a difference. And the fact that I'm sorry, I gotta call you out, Jenny. You've been in India for how many years, and you can't even go to the damn store by yourself without submit because you still don't know how to speak the language.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Okay,
excuses.
It is what it is. I like Jenny, so
I like Jenny too. I like Jenny too, but it's excuses, and we've seen.
But you know what though? I mean, listen. Okay, I'm not even going to get into the languages. I can understand like learning like
learning about their culture and who they are.
Learning their culture, but I think the language is a little bit harder. I can understand learning some, like just some like regular what's her face? Nicole? No, not Nicole. What's the girl name? Johan's girl?
Danielle.
Danielle, because she's not super fluent, but she knows how to have she knows how to translate what she wants to get across, right? I can understand doing that, right? But I mean,
no, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying making the effort.
Yes.
You really, and I feel like it's just crazy to me when people are just like, oh, well, I ain't got to learn. I ain't got to try to. And then they're like, well, we have so many differences because nobody's trying to.
For the people that like have never been, like they met online and then they go to like this Muslim country, I give them just a tiny little bit of leeway because they can do some research. They can, learn a little bit of the language or whatever before they go. But you're still going to have culture shock because, you're never going to get it until you actually get there. Right. But this woman was already over there. She was already over there and saw the culture, the spirituality.
I think it's different. I think that it's a difference when you're a tourist, and we know all tourists aren't respectable.
You still see them.
No, but I think that's why when he pointed out in the airport, you aren't supposed to look like her, but the woman that was covered up was probably from there or been familiar.
I'm sure.
But that's what he was
But
basically
I
saying.
I don't know, I just felt like if you're on a spiritual journey, you're there to embrace the culture as well. That's just me, and, whatever, but I just felt like, you saw kinda what's expected. You saw
Her
what's the
her
norm.
spirit found something, alright.
Well, he basically lets her know, "You know what? Imma try to give you some leeway, but I can't with the clothes." And, she understands, she gets it, but, she says that she has a one-way ticket to Egypt, and she's just hoping for the best. We are too, girl. Like your friend said, "Keep your passport, boo."
Right,
Yeah.
right. So we see Chris talking to Jamie. She's super excited about her move to Colombia, which is coming up the next day. They talk about the wedding, and Jamie assures her that the planner will bring everything to the hotel. So she asks her how she feels that, or Chris asks Jamie how she feels. Basically, that everyone thinks they're kind of rushing this to get married. And Jamie doesn't think so. Her family is basically asking her how she's feeling, and she's a bit sad now that she's getting ready to leave him, leave their kids, um, and just go, abroad.
Yeah, because she's never been out the country. She's really never been away from her family, so
And she's also depending on someone she never met. So we also learned she doesn't know the language. Got another one. There's another one. She says her
all of
good.
these people are dependent on Siri.
I blame Paul and Corinne for this because I felt like that's where it started. I feel like that's where it started with this talking over the thing. I blame Paul and Corinne. I'm sorry.
You are so right.
Be like, can we at least know how to have basic conversation with each other? I don't. I wonder now. Do they even? Well, of course they don't talk now because they're not together. But
Well, they
you
gotta talk. They got a baby together. Well, I don't know. They do things different than
no, I
me.
don't think they had a baby.
Huh?
I don't think they have custody of a child. They're kids.
I feel like you did tell children? Children? Like plural? Okay. Moving on.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now we know she okay, so she says her goodbyes and gets out her cries, and she's on her way to Colombia. So we'll see what happens when Chris gets
She's just hoping that it's worth it because she's making a lot of sacrifices, which she is. And I mean, I don't really feel like is Jamie's really not making any besides having somebody in her home, I
well,
guess.
you know what? After you ghosted me, you gotta do something to keep me. Now Jamie is excited that
Yeah,
Chris
pay your bills.
well
Can't
that's
pay my bills, keep paying some. Mhm.
so Jamie is excited that Chris is arriving in Columbia that night. She visits the salon to get cute for her boo, and she sees her friend Alex, who she met through the modeling world. Apparently, we learned she used to do pageants while she was young, and
Mhm. She
then
was super cute.
right, then went on to modeling school, then became a coach for other models, and apparently, coach Alex's sister, and this is how they met. So they ask about Chris, and she tells them she's moving there and they're getting married. She tells them Chris gave her butterflies through the phone. I said, I
I
know.
just love how they were in love with this love story at first. They're just like, "Oh my god, like, this is just magical."
Look, then my notes say, then she gets into how Chris likes to pull disappearing acts.
Right?
She then lets them know she went and met someone else for 2 months. Now, Alex asks if she's sure she's ready to be married for life. For life,
Alive.
for life. You know what I'm saying?
I
Uh, and she says she's sure that she is. So Alex and his friend, I ain't catch a friend name,
Leo, but, she's also concerned about this girl's narcolepsy. She said, like, they was literally on
on the
FaceTime
phone, and she was
a
like,
few times, and she just out. And she like, it's I
now Alex believes she should postpone the wedding and get to know each other better. Jamie is nervous how Chris will react to her and knows that anything is possible.
All I know is they don't feel like this is such a great love story anymore.
Right. They were like, "Oh, girl, that just sounds messy. You just
Messy. They was eating it up at first. So Gabe is packing up because he leaves for Colombia the next day. He says he's excited, but he's also feeling anxious because he's leaving his family to move to another country. And, he's just getting acquainted with. Now, his mom tells him that she's going to miss him, but if he's happy, that she's 100% behind him. I know that's right, mama.
right." I
And
thought
he basically tells his mom that, what? Wait, his mom,
I
what?
think he basically told his mom that he basically can't stay with her and just be with her.
That is not, no, I don't know what the
Oh,
hell.
that's not what he said. I'm sorry.
Uh-uh.
You give me that.
Um, okay, well, basically, his mom, kind of feels like that he is rushing though, and he basically lets his mom know, um, we ain't even got that much time on our visa. We only got, 94 days. They give us 180, but I done already used half of that. So we gotta do this.
Right.
He says that he's tried traveling back and forth and he wants to live the American dream in Colombia, period. And his mom just hopes that it's real. Now we meet Isabel, who's 34, from El Carmen, Colombia. She says she's a single mom of two kids, Sarah, who's 16, and Miguel Angel, who is 11. She became a mother at 17 with her daughter's father, who was her first boyfriend, and felt like he switched up after she got pregnant. Then things started to go wrong, and a few years later they broke up. Then she met Miguel Angel's father, who was much older than her, and she thought things would be different, but
That
they
were
and she says with the support of her family, she was able to go to school and provide for her kids. Um, Now she says she didn't think that she would ever be in a relationship again. She was kind of good. She was, taking care of kids, living her life. And then she met Gabe. And then things was actually different.
right.
I don't know. I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. Because Gabe actually seems genuine, right?
Right.
And Isabella, her daughter, are just, at the skate park practicing her dance because apparently her daughter competes in dance. I just love how like in these different countries, like they're like really like into stuff. Like,
Right.
like Jamie was in the pageant, she's, in competition dance. I just like how they're like, active in stuff.
Right.
Uh and she says that that's her best friend. They're both really excited about Gabe's arrival,
I
which
thought
I
this
know
was
makes
cute.
which
That her
I'm sure
daughter
which
is
makes
so
her mom
supportive.
super yes. They're also very nervous. Her daughter says that it's been a long time since they've lived with someone. And, last time that they did, her mom wasn't treated very nicely, but, you know, this time this is different. She basically says that she found out on social media that Gabe was trans, which Gabe, I don't think you told us that. You
Yeah,
ain't tell us that. No, he
he
said
said
that
that.
he said he got up the next day and told her.
He said he got up the next day and told her, but she said she had went and looked at his Instagram page before he told her, and he did say that
But
it
he didn't
was
say that
him.
she found out on social
Oh,
media.
he didn't say no. He didn't tell us that, but
Yeah,
I don't think
you
she.
just
I don't
saying
think.
that.
She, but I don't think she told him that.
What do you mean? No, she told him that she looked at his social media, and he knew because she looked at his social media that she knew. What I'm
Oh,
saying is when he said, yeah, she looked at my social media and I told her that I'm trans, to me, that didn't mean just because she looked at your social media, she had an inkling that you were trans.
oh yeah, because he
I,
had posted pictures of his transition.
no, see, no. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. I thought like he was just being super forthcoming and was like, I'm trans.
No, he had. I feel like he did say that the first one that he did have pictures and stuff. He was like, I did post stuff about me transitioning, and so he knew. That's why knew he had no choice but to tell her.
No choice. But see, I thought when he did it like
Thought he was just saying it freely. That's
yes, exactly. So basically, she says that through social media, she saw his transition. And otherwise, really, she said she would have thought that he was just a man, like, looks like a man and he has no feminine traits, is what she said. And he basically says that he didn't want to keep any secrets and let her know that he's trans. And if she saw his social media, basically he said, like, he's trans. Basically, you saw on social media. You already know. Just responded that it didn't matter. And that's where their connection began. Her daughter also says that it didn't matter if her mom was comfortable, because that makes her comfortable. Now, Isabel is just really concerned about her parents. She knows her father is conservative and old-fashioned and also closed-minded. And she's just concerned that her parents won't accept them, and knows that it can either push her away from her family or even away from Gabe.
Let's let's say prayer before we go into this. Lord, please forgive all the ridiculous and stupid fools that TLC has found and casted on this show.
They find TLC.
FYI, Jen. I would hope that I could change my vote, and Lord, that you let the audience forget what I said originally, because
Nope. I got it right here.
because
Latrice said, yeah.
because this girl is a whole fool. My prayers be with her. Amen. Now,
I know. Look, we didn't have all the facts.
okay, we see Jen having dinner with her family. That was my grace for the dinner. Now she's moving to India in a week now, and now that the borders are lifted and she's ready to fly, they start to get emotional at dinner, talking about her upcoming departure. And she says that Rishi can't move here because he's the main support for his family. Now, when her sister-in-law questions, I believe this was her sister-in-law.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. I ain't get her name though. I'm getting real bad. I'm getting like
I
nervous.
might have, but I gotta figure out where I'm at.
So her sister-in-law questions whether his mom likes
Sarah.
What is it?
Sarah.
Sarah. So Sarah
Sarah.
questions whether Rishi's mom likes her. She lets her know that his family doesn't know about the engagement and that he introduced her as a friend. She says he said no to an arranged marriage, but he wants a love marriage. So why can't he tell nobody about you, Lou?
Well, according to her, because she's not Indian. And does it? And look, let me say, and look, he probably
it really did in this moment. It really did feel like Jenny and Sami all
it did. But you know what? But we know he had an arranged marriage. But you know what got me? It was giving. He said that he wanted a love marriage and they approved it. And now he went out and got an American, and he's scared to tell because they're like, you know what? This is why we do arranged marriages.
Right.
This is the you pull. Okay. I'd say you can marry whoever the hell you want. You go across the damn waters to go get somebody. That is not what we meant, sir.
So she hopes that they'll accept her. And she hasn't even brought it up to Rishi. And everybody's like, well, why the hell ain't you said nothing? Why is this not bothering you? And they're like, what happens if his family doesn't agree? And will he still marry you? And she doesn't want to put any pressure on him, and says that she's done that before with guys and it hasn't ended well. So then she goes to meet up with some friends that got some sense.
You know, I didn't put the friends' names for this one.
Why? You should have.
No, because I think I put one of the friends' names. The other friend, I don't like that name very much.
Randy and Randy. I just got it. Sorry.
Oh.
We learned that she was previously married and neither one of them liked her first husband. It caused a lot of tension in their friendship, and not even 2 years after she was divorced. So her friends tell her they think she's giving too much too fast with Rishi. She's like, I'm gonna just move my whole life.
Apparently, this is something she always do.
Apparently, she done moved. One of her homegirls said first it was somewhere to DC, then it was Texas, then it was Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. Girl,
you know what's crazy? This girl called herself a nomad, but it sounds like this is why she was a nomad.
or was it a homage? I'm just saying. Now, basically they tell her, boo, your picker's off. Your picker's off. I hate to be mean to you, but if you look up a picture of insanity
in a dictionary,
when it comes to men, it got a picture of you, boo. It got a picture of you. You keep doing the same thing, expecting different results.
I like her friends a lot better than I liked Danielle's friends.
Right. So well, like I said, she moves to a whole bunch of men.
She also lets them know as icing on the cake that his family don't even know that they're engaged. Why she do that? Look, Randy was like blazing red flags. She was like, you don't care that he's not proud to introduce you? Like,
Jen, I didn't think it got worse than Nicole. Like I remember texting Nels as I was getting my notes together, y'all. And I said, and of course I was gonna fry Nicole's ass because she just seemed off. You know, she seemed like a flower child. But Jen seemed too damn old to not have no sense.
well, they said she's done when it comes to men. And that's what it's giving. But apparently she thought it sounded better, I guess, to say that, well, he introduced me as his friend. And they're like, you know what? No. You're basically his concubine in America and his ticket to a green card.
So now Jen is regretting this lunch now that she done told him all her business. And so she says that she trusts him and believes that he is fully committed to this engagement. And she actually tells us that she doesn't even follow Rishi on social media because she's done that in the past and doesn't want to do that again because she's sent crying ass videos and shit like that. And it's probably
That was to
no, I'm saying if she's done that to Rishi, she's done it before.
yeah.
Poor baby. So one of her friends, I believe it was what's the girl name?
Randy.
Has the idea, why don't we reach out to Rishi and see if we can catfish him? And see if I try to engage him, will he respond? And so Jen is like, cool, go for it. Why?
I trust him.
You're not gonna listen no damn way.
I thought it was fun.
Go on, child. Get into this last scene.
Randy, reach out, girl. See what happened. But you're right. She ain't listen no damn way.
Right. It don't matter.
Because Randy hit her up and was like, yeah. So I wrote him and he wrote me back. And basically, after reading the message, Jen didn't feel like he did anything incriminating. And really, he even left her on red. So, I mean, how did you feel about that, Trace? Did you feel like it was bad that he responded at all, or?
We would have had yes. Why we would have had a problem? Because if you're not interested, you don't need to know where I am. Why I'm just, like I just know.
So for me, right? And I was wondering why she didn't state this. So we know that he does
physical training and modeling.
So
okay, so I could see that, but she was like, I think you're cute or something like that.
But he didn't even take it there. He didn't say, "Oh, I think you're cute too." He's like, "Where are you? Or do I know you from anywhere?" And when she said that, to me, what it gave was, I think she said she was in London or something.
Yeah.
When she said she was in London, he didn't respond back. And what that gave me was, you're not in India, so you're nowhere that I can help you or that you can get my services. So why am I reaching back out to you? Is what I got. I didn't feel that it was incriminating either, to be honest with you. But I didn't see anything wrong with him responding to her because that's what's plastered all over his social media.
That's true. He clearly wants to be reached out to.
So I really didn't see anything wrong with it either. But Randy feels that, he really shouldn't be talking to anybody on social media. And feels that Jen is making excuses for him, saying that he really doesn't speak English very well. And,
If
she
your
says,
friend want to be dumb, you gotta let it be dumb. We've all done it.
hard head make a soft ass. So,
We've all done it.
she says in the past she's been jealous and possessive. So she made a conscious decision, yes, like Tree said, to not follow him on social media because she doesn't want anything to tip her over the edge. And she basically tells Randy that she's sorry that she feels that way, but ain't nothing you say gonna change my mind, lady. I'ma stick beside him. Randy is pissed. Randy don't want her friend to leave. She like, fuck this nigga.
She's like, I still love you. And she's like, yeah, I'm still going.
Well,
I don't want you to ruin your life, ho.
She did say that. She did say that.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
For tuning into another review of the hell are we doing? 90 Day.
90 Day Fiancé, the other way.
The other way. I don't know. But anyway, the other way. Season 4, episode 2. If you have not already, Shade Squad and new viewers, please make sure that you have hit the like button.
You comment.
You subscribe.
And hit the notification bell.
And thank you guys for continuing our growth and continuing to help us glow and grow. And like I said, share us with your friends. Drop down in the comments. We appreciate you. And we will be late next week because we got some personal things to do.
Like we both do this time. We both do.
I can't dock her pay for this, but we love you guys and we will catch you next week for another review. Have a great night.
Good night.